In mid-June of 2024, law enforcement in Spartanburg County, South Carolina, was searching for 41-year-old Patrice Smith on a bench warrant after the woman had failed to appear in court for a driving suspension. At some point, Smith took to her social media and posted a selfie with a description intended to tease the authorities. She wrote, "I'm out and about. Tell the police that's looking for me I'm definitely out here." The move backfired as it resulted in a tipster contacting Crime Stoppers and providing the authorities with a new address for the woman's whereabouts. The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office Warrant Division located Smith's car at the residence, and she was found inside. The woman initially refused to come out but was eventually taken into custody without incident. Number 9. Carlos Clark. In early 2024, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police in North Carolina began looking into a possibly stolen Chevrolet Corvette Z06 that had been running amok on county streets. The investigation was handled by the department's Stolen Car and Recovery Law Enforcement Team, or SCARLET. Detectives found the vehicle in viral social media videos posted by 21-year-old Carlos Clark. The latter had close to 300,000 Instagram followers, and his content showed him speeding in the Chevrolet, going off the shoulder, swerving through traffic and into construction lanes. His clips also featured him toying with CMPD police drivers who were either unable to keep up with his vehicle or chose to abandon pursuits out of fear for public safety. Clark would sometimes drive beside police and speed away, only to later caption the videos with demeaning descriptions such as "cruising with my buddy." On March the 28th, Clark was stopped after running a red light in Charlottesville. He allowed CMPD officers to get close to his car and then sped off, intentionally striking a cruiser in the process. The ensuing chase was captured on a 360-degree camera that Clark had fitted to his vehicle. The man reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour and was able to get away. However, later in the day, law enforcement tracked him back to an address where he was staying with his twin brother, Christopher. The police executed a search warrant at the home. They found and seized the Chevrolet, as well as firearms and copious amounts of drugs. The search produced an AK-47, 2 AR-15s, and a Glock, as well as multiple pounds of THC vials, THC edibles, psychedelic mushroom-laced chocolate, numerous pre-rolled marijuana blunts, psychedelic mushrooms, and marijuana resin. Clark was arrested on a plethora of charges, among which were multiple counts of felony fleeing to elude arrest, in addition to reckless driving and multiple drug charges. His brother was arrested on drug charges as well. Number 8. Dukajin Maxhouni. On June the 23rd of 2022, officers from the Tampa Police Department in Florida carried out a drug arrest in front of Ybor Grocery at the corner of North 15th Street and East 26th Avenue. As shown in body cam footage, Officer Dukajin Maxhouni got out of his cruiser as his colleagues chased after a young black man. Maxhouni, a 10-year veteran of the force, cut the suspect off and knocked him to the ground with a leg strike. In the aftermath, other officers stormed him and made the arrest. In the moments that followed, Maxhouni began boasting, telling bystanders at the scene, "That was one hell of a flying knee for me. You should have seen it. It was good. It's on body camera. I'll show it to you." He then taunted a crowd of people, most of whom were black, as they walked away. Maxhouni shouted, "You want to be a tough guy? Come talk to me now," before repeatedly exclaiming, "What are you gonna do?" and cursing at people. Residents at the scene refused to engage him, prompting the officer to remark that everybody should know who runs these effing streets. In the wake of his outburst, Maxhouni received a written reprimand and was moved to a different department. The Tampa Bay Times requested the body cam footage and it went public in the fall of 2023. Yvette Lewis, president of the Hillsborough County branch of the NAACP, said that Maxhouni's behavior damaged relations between residents and the police, particularly in the African American community. Lewis was quoted as saying, "Why should I trust law enforcement? Why should I work with them? Why should I respect them? Because they obviously didn't respect the young people that were there." Number 7. Antonio Ginestri. Heading into the spring of 2024, Antonio Ginestri had become infamous as a street racer in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The 19-year-old Queens resident drove high-performance cars and carried out various stunts in the tri-state area, often with the aim of provoking law enforcement. He went by Squeeze Benz online and had amassed over 1 million followers across his accounts. Ginestri posted his videos with a full-face helmet to conceal his identity. One of the manners in which he taunted the police was by doing donuts around cop cars before speeding off and eluding arrest by running red lights and other reckless maneuvers. In one such incident on April the 11th of 2024, Ginestri circled police vehicles in a black BMW with no license plates at Broad and Market Streets in Newark, New Jersey. Cops initiated a traffic stop, but Ginestri disregarded a no-turns sign as he went from Market to Broad Street and was able to speed away. Other videos show him drifting through Times Square or whizzing by drivers in area tunnels, often in the company of terrified passengers. The investigation that unmasked Ginestri as Squeeze Benz began after he was arrested for punching a man at the Steinway Deli in Long Island City on February the 10th of 2024. The police released him as they looked into the assault further, but Ginestri carried on with his driving stunts, thereby providing detectives with more evidence that connected him to his social media alias. He was ultimately arrested in Newark in mid-May, and a NYPD spokesperson announced at the time, "One of the most prolific street racers in NYC can no longer treat the Big Apple like the Indy 500. Ginestri's taunting would have ramifications beyond reckless driving or eluding charges," after the police also linked him to a series of thefts and burglaries. A BMW X7, which had stolen New Jersey registration, was spotted at the scene of the crimes, which stretched throughout the tri-state area. One of the incidents took place at the Speedway gas station on Route 46 East in Fairfield, Connecticut. CCTV showed 3 suspects, one of whom was identified as Ginestri, burglarizing the establishment and racing away in the BMW. Ginestri was rearrested and charged with burglary, theft, and 2 counts of conspiracy because he'd had an underage accomplice. The man was also charged with employing a juvenile in the commission of a crime. Number 6. Luis Camacho. For weeks leading up to February of 2019, law enforcement in Northport, Florida, had been trying to catch the rider of a white Honda motorcycle who'd been toying with them. The man was reported on multiple occasions for riding recklessly, but every time that the police tried to arrest him, he concealed his tag and sped off. He challenged officers to chase him before barreling through traffic, endangering the lives of pedestrians and other drivers. The police eventually identified the rider as 25-year-old Luis Camacho, and his cat-and-mouse game came to an end on February the 15th. Officers tracked him down and he tried to run away on foot, but was chased and captured without incident. In a social media post announcing the arrest, the Northport Police Department wrote that it was game over for the daredevil, adding, "Unfortunately for him, he wasn't as quick on his feet." The authorities issued a warning to other motorcyclists that would similarly attempt to break the law. It read, "We will be patient, we will find you, and we will eventually arrest you." Number 5. Rolly Bands. In the summer of 2022, Florida rapper Rolly Bands, Ari Williams by his real name, dared people with whom he was feuding online to come find him at his Tampa home. On the afternoon of July the 22nd, Williams took to Instagram stories and said that his enemies knew where he lived, adding that he would arrive at the address in 5 minutes should anyone want smoke. At around 3:30 p.m., the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office received a call about a shooting in the parking lot of the IQ Apartments. Minutes after his Instagram post, Williams was gunned down outside his home. Williams' family believed that his online taunting had been a direct factor in the killing. In August, 2 men were arrested for the murder, Demon Speed and Darren Day, both of whom were in their 20s, had pulled up to the rapper's home in a BMW. Day was the getaway driver while Speed acted as the gunman. The latter got out and shot Williams in the back of the head as he tried to run away. The crux of the dispute remained unclear, but it was believed to have been connected to a fraud scheme in which the trio was involved. Number 4. Samuel Evan Lake. In April of 2014, New Zealand man Samuel Evan Lake was sentenced in Christchurch to 7 months of home detention for burglary, theft, and a previous breach of bail conditions. Then in September, it emerged that Lake was missing from his home. The man had cut off his monitoring bracelet and the device was found lying in the road. Christchurch law enforcement put out a warrant for his arrest and announced that they were looking for him in a Facebook post that featured his mugshot. Using his real name, Lake commented on the post and wrote, "I need to get a new mugshot." Christchurch police replied, "Come see us, and we'll arrange at no cost." Lake further taunted law enforcement by writing, "If only they were as good at finding me as they were with comebacks." The 23-year-old then updated his profile picture to a modified version of the mugshot, in which his face was edited to resemble Ben Stiller's character in the comedy film Zoolander. The exchange went viral, and tips began flowing in regarding Lake's whereabouts. He was ultimately located in Wellington in October and arrested. Lake was subsequently given a 6-month jail sentence after it was deemed that he was unmanageable in the community and at risk of reoffending. Number 3. Andrew Fox. In July of 2019, British man Andrew Fox was released on license following an assault conviction, but then recalled to prison after breaching the terms. On July the 6th, however, the 32-year-old went on the run after Northamptonshire police released a public appeal for his capture on Facebook. Fox began taunting and goading the authorities by commenting on the post with a series of memes and photos. One of the images he uploaded was a selfie captioned, "Hello, Mr. Officer," and showed him making an offensive gesture in front of a cop car. Among his taunts was also a meme with the words "peekaboo." After several days of frustrating law enforcement, Fox was arrested in the Delaprey area of Northampton. The account Kettering Proactive Cops announced the arrest on Twitter, writing, "The fugitive who has been mocking our colleagues will mock no more." In a photo released by Northamptonshire Police, Fox was pictured smiling, giving a thumbs up and holding a lit cigarette as he was being escorted by 2 officers. The cops' faces were disguised by smiling, sunglass-wearing emojis. Some criticized law enforcement for the photo, suggesting Fox looked far too comfortable in their presence, as if they'd all been partying together. Chief Constable Nick Adderley defended the post, arguing that the photo showed the force's focus and determination. Today's topic was requested by Twisted Darkness Rising and Che Smiley 3. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Raymond Reinke. In the summer of 2018, Oregon man Raymond Reinke and a friend went on a tour of the national parks before he was due to start a treatment program for his alcohol addiction. In late July, he was arrested for public intoxication and interfering with law enforcement in Grand Teton National Park. He was held in jail overnight before he was released on a $500 bond and ordered to remain sober. 3 days later, he was cited by rangers in Yellowstone for not wearing a seatbelt. Park authorities noted that he appeared to be intoxicated but were unaware of his bond conditions and he was let go. 55-year-old Reinke's follow-up drunken stunt would make headlines. It occurred while traffic was stopped on a Yellowstone roadway to allow a male bison to pass. Other visitors recorded Reinke as he got out of his car, approached the animal, and seemingly attempted to herd it. He then puffed his chest, stood his ground, and squared up to the bison. It charged Reinke, who pulled back but remained aggressive and continued taunting it. The bison charged the man again with its horns down and made slight contact before retreating. Reinke emerged from the situation unharmed, but his antics outraged Yellowstone authorities. Regulations required visitors to stay at least 25 yards away from bison, and Reinke's taunting was all the more dangerous given that it was mating season and males were more aggressive. As videos of the incident gained attention online, Yellowstone Rangers discovered Reinke's charges in Grand Teton, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. They'd previously learned from the man that he was heading to Glacier National Park. While the authorities were looking for his vehicle, they got a report of 2 guests causing a disturbance at Many Glacier Hotel. One of them was identified as Reinke and taken into custody. U.S. Attorney Leo Pico described Reinke's behavior as the most egregious case of animal harassment he'd ever seen at Yellowstone, while the sentencing judge told him, "You're lucky the bison didn't take care of it, and you're standing in front of me." Reinke was given 60 days in jail for harassing wildlife, 60 days for interfering with law enforcement, and 10 days for disorderly conduct. He told the media in the incident's wake, "I'm sorry to the buffalo. He didn't deserve what I did to him," adding, "I just didn't think. That's my stupidity." The man was banned from Grand Teton, Yellowstone, and Glacier National Parks for a 5-year probationary period, during which he wasn't allowed to drink alcohol. If you can't get enough of our vids just yet, we will have our release from a while back about when getting too close goes wrong lined up after number 1. Stick around if you haven't seen that one yet. Number 1. Kwaun Elliot. 24-year-old Kwaun Elliot became a fugitive in mid-March of 2023 after escaping from a corrections center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. At the time, he was awaiting a non-jury trial for probation violation in relation to firearms charges. The face-tattooed young man used a 4th-floor fire escape window to flee and remained on the run for 45 days. During that time, he used a Facebook account under a different name to mock the authorities for not being able to find him. The taunting posts, however, only increased the police's chances of tracking him down. In late April, Elliot was found at a Marriott hotel in Uptown and arrested without incident. On September the 24th of 2022, an unidentified tourist tried to get too close to a pack of bull elk and was charged by one of them in Estes Park, Colorado. Megan Foster uploaded a video of the incident to her social media account, enraged by the tourist's careless attitude towards the animals. In the recording, the man could be seen moving closer and closer to the elk in order to get a better picture, even though they began to show signs of discomfort and stress. Foster noted one of the animals was drooling heavily and urinating repeatedly, trying to mark its territory. Though several other people surrounded the herd as well, none of them got as close as the man in question. Foster explained that the tourist had been taking pictures of the animals for over 15 minutes when the attack occurred. The perturbed bull elk lowered its antlers and began charging at the man who'd gotten closer to the herd, prompting him to turn and run. In the background, people could be heard cheering for the animal. The video quickly went viral, with viewers almost unanimously siding with the bull elk for defending its herd from invasive humans. Number 9. Sydney Kraft. 23-year-old Sydney Kraft died after losing her footing and falling into a waterfall in Roseburg, Oregon on July the 31st of 2016. Kraft, who owned a sporting goods store, was attempting to take a picture of a friend who was jumping into the river from the top of the waterfall when she lost her balance. She plummeted 90 feet to the river's edge. The friend who'd been accompanying her called 911 and unsuccessfully attempted to perform CPR while waiting for paramedics to arrive. Though Kraft did initially survive the descent, by the time first responders reached the scene, she'd succumbed to her injuries. Number 8. Hassan Arifin. On June the 6th of 2022, 19-year-old Hassan Arifin was visiting the Kasan Kulim Zoo in Riau, Indonesia, when he climbed over the barrier separating the orangutan enclosure from tourists and was attacked. The video, uploaded to Twitter the day after the incident, immediately went viral. Arifin ignored the zoo's rules in order to get a better angle for his video, as close to the orangutans as possible. According to the zoo's manager, it wasn't the first time Arifin had disregarded the rules about approaching the animals, and he'd reportedly been escorted off of the premises on several previous occasions. Not only did the man's actions put himself in danger, they also affected the health and well-being of the animals. In the video, Arifin desperately tried to escape the orangutan's grip as it grabbed onto his leg through the bars. He was eventually able to free himself and jump back behind the barrier. He apologized for his actions after facing widespread criticism brought on by the viral video. Number 7. Rebecca Clark. Hiker Rebecca Clark was gored by a bison in Texas's Caprock Canyon State Park after getting too close to the herd in October of 2022. Clark was attempting to pass by the animals when she stopped to record a video of them. One of the bison immediately grew agitated and charged at her, ramming her into a mesquite bush. She managed to get in contact with family members using her cell phone and waited for 50 minutes for help to arrive. Due to the severity of her wounds, Bush had to be airlifted to a hospital and remained under medical supervision for 6 days. Fortunately, she didn't require surgery and was eventually released. Clark uploaded the video of her frightening encounter to TikTok, where it quickly accumulated 2.1 million views. She claimed to have shared the footage in order to educate people on the dangers of approaching wild animals. The U.S. National Park Service recommends hikers remain at least 100 feet away from herds of bison and other animals. According to the Department of Wildland Resources and Utah State University, up to 50,000 people are attacked by wildlife each year. Number 6. Kristen and Ryan Yaldor. Florida couple Kristen and Ryan Yaldor were attacked by a hippopotamus while vacationing in Zimbabwe on December 1st of 2018. While participating in a canoe trip in the Zambezi River with 2 tour guides, the Yaldors accidentally got too close to a mother hippopotamus and her calf. The animal swam underneath the couple's canoe and violently rammed it on its side. While Ryan was able to swim to the shore, the same could not be said for his wife. The hippopotamus bit into Kristen's leg and pulled her underwater, breaking her femur in the process. She was eventually able to break free, after which she and her husband had to wait an hour for a helicopter to rescue them. It was later revealed that the tour guide's radio and cell phone didn't work properly, which prevented help from arriving sooner. Kristen was first taken to a local hospital which lacked the proper equipment to treat her beyond sewing the injury and offering her tetanus shots and morphine. She then spent 2 weeks in a trauma unit in Johannesburg, South Africa, where she underwent surgery once every 2 days. When she was finally able to return to the US, Kristen was hospitalized once more to replace the rod that had been inserted into her fractured leg, and also underwent several skin grafts. In total, from December of 2018 to December of 2019, she endured 14 different procedures and intensive physical therapy, eventually managing to regain most of the mobility of her leg. Number 5. Robert Irwin. The son of famed Australian zookeeper Steve Irwin was bitten by a carpet python he was attempting to rescue on July the 11th of 2020. Robert Irwin had been filming his encounter with the snake for the TV show Crikey, It's the Irwins, when the animal suddenly lunged back and bit him in the face. Despite the frightening circumstance, Irwin kept his composure and managed to complete the rescue. Following the incident, he took a picture of himself, smiling at the camera, to show the resemblance of a similar attack his own father had experienced over a decade earlier. Fortunately, the carpet python is non-venomous, which meant the young man's life wasn't in jeopardy, but he was left with a pair of puncture wounds. Number 4. Curtis Plum. On July the 2nd of 2015, 38-year-old safari guide Curtis Plum was mauled by a leopard while traveling through the Kruger National Park in South Africa with a group of tourists. The attack was captured on camera by one of the tourists, Grant Ford. Plum had reportedly stopped the car to allow people to take pictures, at which point he leaned out the window to see what kind of animal was hiding underneath the nearby bushes. It was at that moment that a leopard jumped into the open-top Jeep and attacked him, biting and clawing at his arm. Fortunately, Plum was wearing a bush jacket, which mitigated the severity of his wounds. The tourists attempted to scare the feline away, but their attempts proved fruitless. A Hyundai minivan traveling ahead of the tour was alerted to the situation, and its driver used the car's door to shove the wild animal away, but the leopard refused to release its prey. It was only when Plum began driving in reverse that he finally broke free from the predator's grip, though the leopard then began running towards the car. The safari guide drove over the wild animal in order to put a stop to the attack. Plum had to undergo surgery for his various injuries but managed to make a full recovery. Number 3. Amber Bitzer. 25-year-old Amber Bitzer was violently attacked by a butcher bird in Brisbane, Australia. on October the 10th of 2020. She was reportedly sitting in her backyard when the bird landed too close to her and immediately became aggressive. Butcher birds are known for their vicious attacks against their natural prey, which include reptiles and rats. The animal became violent with no apparent provocation and attacked Bitzer's face, inflicting several large gashes. The young woman was immediately taken to the hospital where she was treated for her injuries. Bitzer stated that the incident left her emotionally scarred and with a fear of leaving the house. Her roommate shared her concerns and began to use protective gear while hanging out clothes in the backyard. The bird subsequently attacked Bitzer's home once again, but she avoided any injuries because of her decision to wear a helmet and sunglasses while out in the garden. Number 2. Rebecca Crawford. On June the 24th of 2020, Rebecca Crawford was involved in a near-fatal accident when she walked too close to the edge of a cliff while trekking through Lamorna Cove in West Cornwall, England. The 37-year-old woman had been enjoying a walk with her sister, Debs, when she sprained her ankle on a narrow path and consequently plummeted off the side of the cliff, falling 60 feet to the ground below. Her sister immediately called emergency services to the scene, and within minutes, an air ambulance was dispatched to the area. The doctors doubted Crawford could have survived such a fall, but she was alive when they arrived, having suffered 6 spinal fractures as well as a head injury. Crawford's injuries didn't require surgery, and she was discharged from the hospital 5 days after the accident occurred. She walked with crutches for several weeks thereafter, but managed to make a full recovery by September. Number 1. Isaac Coolin. High school student Isaac Coolin was attacked by a mother goose during a golf tournament in Blissfield, Michigan on April the 21st of 2018. The teen had reportedly gotten too close to the animal's nest while walking down the fairway, and the ensuing encounter with the agitated bird was captured by Devon Gilson Pitts, the parent of another student participant. Although Coolin was accompanied by other golfers, he was the only one targeted by the protective goose. The viral video showed the teenager being charged by the animal, prompting him to fall to the ground for the sake of self-preservation. The goose continued its attack even after he was down, but subsequent reports indicated that the golfer didn't suffer any serious injuries during the incident. Thanks for watching. Would you rather ride a bull for 3 minutes or go around a boxing with Jake Paul? Let us know in the comments section below.